Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 37th edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by Disney's number one hater, Jaden.
Hello.
Hello, and PTA's number one fanboy, aka Fitzy, aka Liam.
Hey.
Hi. Well, this is Cinema Effect, everyone. I feel like we're going for like a calmer ASMR vibe today, you know? Like a peaceful...
Yeah, it just feels very low energy.
It does, yeah. I don't know if I dislike it, though.
No,
I feel like I'm usually too much energy.
we'll be a slow build.
Yeah, we'll start enraging when we start talking about the film, and we'll get into political debates and we'll start screaming at each other. Yeah.
I can't wait for you to cut out like 40 minutes worth of political discussion.
No, I would never. I would never. Nah, I probably would actually. But let's see how much I can get through the intro, keeping this tone of voice right here. So we'll give it a go. Okay, I'm beginning now. For the uninitiated, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday. The show posts on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music if you're fortunate enough to have access to that thing. So please subscribe on all those things if you enjoy the show. You can visit ratethispodcast.com/Cinema Effect to leave a 5-star review. We'll read it on the show. Follow the Instagram page. Submit your questions, thoughts, reviews for next week's film in the YouTube comments section. We'll read that at the end of next week's show as always, but our specific question of the week is a pretty simple one, all right? We had to think about if we've done it before or not because it seems so straightforward. Favourite comedy movie? Everyone has an answer to this. So type yours in the comments. We'd love to see that. I don't really like comedies that much, so I'll have to think about that too.
What, you don't like to laugh? You don't like to be happy?
No, I hate it. Absolutely hate it.
That's fair.
Yeah. So anyway, this week we're reviewing The Trial of the Chicago 7, which debuted on Netflix on October 16th, 2020. It was directed by Aaron Sorkin. The genre is a historical drama, and the synopsis is the story of 7 people on trial stemming from various charges surrounding the uprising at the 1968 Democratic National Convention in Chicago, Illinois. How did we feel about the trial of the Chicago 7? Were you guys interested in watching this movie prior to us doing it? Because I know I was, but was it on any of your radars?
Absolutely not. I had no intention of watching this. And in fact, going into watching it, like when I started watching it for the show, like I went in with a bad taste, and for about the first 20 minutes, I kept that. But then I pretty soon got into it, and I ended up quite enjoying it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Is it just because you hadn't really heard about it, or is it something about?
Oh, I just had no interest in it.
Subject matter, the genre.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I mean, like there was lots of names in that I recognized, and I mean, like, I have nothing against anything about the film. It's just that I didn't care for it much. But yeah, I'm happy I watched it.
Okay, cool. I feel like I'm kind of had the opposite thing where I was interested in watching it, and as I've said many times, I'm on the hunt for 2020 movies. This is definitely a fairly big release, I would say, this year, and I was interested in watching it, looking forward to watching it, and I watched it, and I was kind of left like, okay, that was fine. I thought the movie was decent enough. I didn't dislike it. I didn't really like it that much either, though. But how about you, Liam?
Yeah, no, I was pretty much the same. I thought it was decent. I mean, I think it's really well written and stuff, but I just think the kind of nature of like the people going against the ignorant judge and kind of there's kind of a lack of a soundtrack and stuff, and that kind of just doesn't inherently appeal to me as much. But that's just like my taste, not a fault of the film, I guess.
Sure. Yeah,
I liked it, I guess.
Yeah, I found, like, when they first get in the courtroom that first day, right, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt's, like, literally the first thing they do in the courtroom, and he starts giving the argument, his opening address to the jury, and he's interrupted, like, 80 times by the judge and whatever, and of course the judge is just, atrocious, absolutely awful. So at that point, I don't know if the film had the effect or gave me the impression it wanted, where I felt like it was trying to obviously get me to hate the judge and root for the seven, which is cool. But instead, I was just kind of left rolling my eyes of how obnoxious this was. It's like, and the judge can't remember anyone's name, and it's just so blatantly a terrible job. Like, the judge is so awful at his job that I'm just like, oh, okay, is this really how black and white and uninteresting this is right now? And that kind of never changed for me, you know. So I know that character annoyed me in the way that I don't know if it had the effect it wanted, but is that what you were talking about in relation to the judge, Fitzy?
Yeah, kinda. Well, I just mean like this kind of story doesn't appeal to me as much, but I can see what you mean with the comedy aspects. Although I thought that there was some parts of the comedy that was kind of well done, but maybe too maybe too much, like you said. Maybe it's too forceful or whatever.
Yeah. I do think there's like maybe a handful of too many moments of either Sacha Baron Cohen or whoever, any one of them, like being defiant or whatever, and being quick witted and responding to the judge to be a smartass. And it was like funny, like maybe like the first two times, and then it just kept happening. I felt like the movie had sort of played all its cards in the humor department pretty early. Yeah, no, it wasn't terrible humor by any means, but I was just like, okay, this is cool, I guess. But yeah, how'd you feel about the humor, Jaden? Because it was actually one of the main things I sort of took notes about, because I was sort of hit and miss on it, I think, generally.
Well, I didn't really think it was an overly present feature. I mean, like, it was kind of only with Jeremy Strong and Baron Cohen's characters, and I thought it was interspersed well enough that it wasn't, too overbearing, to make light of the source material. And I thought, I think there's a lot of cringe things within the film, like in terms of the writing, but I don't think the comedy was really ever an issue for me. Because
sure, okay.
I'm just trying to think back to it. And I can't really recall too many instances of it. Like, and obviously in the courtroom, like when they're rebutting with the judge, they dress up as the in the robe and they take it off in the uniform and stuff. But like, I can't recall too much other than that. And I think all them being dumbasses and smartasses throughout the rest of the film, that's just in their character. So I wouldn't really. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. No, I never took issue with it. It was the base.
Yeah. That was a bit silly. Yeah, I remember that moment. But I don't know. But yeah, Jeremy Strong does have some pretty decent moments as well. Like
actually, no,
his
sorry.
interactions that he has with
his obsession with the policewoman, like when
that was good. I like that.
Really, because I was gonna say that's the one thing when he sees Joseph Gordon-Levitt in the park. And he's like, does she ever talk about me or whatever? Like that's, I think that's the one moment I can recall now that I was like, that's,
a bit cringe.
Yeah, in terms of comedy wise.
Sure, yeah. I don't know. That's funny. That's actually I don't think it was hilarious, but that is one of that kind of stood out to me as being okay though. But that's funny though.
I just think it's like I think it's because I hear Sorkin talked up so much as a writer, and just hearing such a generic line rock up, is kind of what threw me off about it. It's kind of like the same way how at the end, where Levitt's character says, showing respect for the fallen as he stands up. Like, that was cringe as. And I mean, it's like, it was kind of that, because I don't think there was anything inherently wrong with lines throughout the film, but I think it was because it came with, the fact that it was attached to Sorkin's name, and I've heard so much about him, and obviously after seeing The Social Network, it kind of made these average lines seem a lot worse than what they were.
Right. Yeah, no, I understand that. Yeah, I'm in a similar sort of boat where, for me, the identity of this movie sort of does, we talked about it last week when we said we're doing this movie, the identity of the movie sort of does encapsulate Aaron Sorkin a little bit. He's kind of so entwined with it in my brain a little bit of, Trials of Chicago 7, that's an Aaron Sorkin movie, and yeah, I get what you mean. Maybe that does have a bit of a negative effect on it. because of how, well regarded he is as a writer. Especially when, a lot of the time we kind of just, for movies, we sort of just don't pay attention to who wrote them a lot of the time. So yeah, things like that we wouldn't think of. But when, we're paying so much attention to who wrote it, and then we hear things like that, I don't disagree with you. That was kind of, I mean, I don't know if I'd say like the Fallen thing was cringe, but it was definitely like
it was cringe.
I'm on your train of thought though. I think it was cliche, no doubt. It was super, it was pretty straightforward stuff. Yeah.
I think the majority of the film's writing was good. I think the dialogue was great in the way that it was, I think the pace of it, the back and forth, between the characters when they go back to the house and how fast that was, and I think a lot of the courtroom stuff is rather poignant, for now. So I think the writing was, in the majority was pretty decent, but it's just that when it did falter, it's rather glaring.
Wait, can we try something?
Sure. What do you got in mind?
How many character names can you guys remember?
Tom Hayden, Abby Hoffman, Kunstler, Weiner, Wensler, Bobby Seale, Bernadette was like the admin person.
Yeah, who? What?
She's the one that kept on answering conspiracy office when people would call.
That's right.
Hold on. Dellinger was the bloke that was never violent but then punched to someone. I can't remember Jeremy Strong's character name.
Oh God.
And then the other two like throwaway characters. It was meant to be like 5, but it was 7. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. That was a good question, Fitz. Yeah, I like that. We should do that for certain movies, I think. Try and remember those names. Because now that you say that, though, you've kind of sort of raised the point for me of, I do find the movie pretty forgettable, generally speaking. Are you the same way, or was it just like the character name specifically that made you say that?
No, just the character names.
Okay. Yeah.
But Tom Hayden, I thought he was he was Eddie
Redmayne.
Yeah. I thought he was a really good character.
I thought he was the best character. Yeah.
I just like how he's kind of separates himself from the group and kind of has his own morals and stuff, his own way of doing it.
Absolutely. And then in that, I feel like he's the only character that has or at least has the most obvious arc that I can think of. He clearly has development in exactly what you're talking about. Whereas I didn't get that. Like, I appreciated that oh God, their names though. I appreciate that the Sacha Baron Cohen character, he had that sort of more in-depth opening up moment with Eddie Redmayne. I appreciated that, but I would never say like he had any sort of significant character progression in the movie.
Oh, sorry. Speaking about them two, it brings me to another point I remembered about like the fault in the script was that a lot of the not a lot, but like often at like a character would mention something for the express purpose of the script being able to introduce that element next. And I think like what comes to mind immediately was that when they're at the house, Jeremy Strong asks Tom Hayden, I should really say either the character or the actor, not both. They ask, I heard Kunstler's talking to you about taking the stand. And then the next moment he comes in the door and he goes, you're not taking the stand. And the only reason that was ever first brought up was for that moment to happen. And it just felt like, once again, with someone like Sorkin, I kind of expected a more smooth transition or something, something I expect him to embed that kind of better rather than just, oh, by the way, what about this? Oh, it goes into this action.
Yeah, that's true. That's tricky. I mean, I feel you there. That could have been done more smoothly. But what did you like about old Eddie Redmayne? I'm going to stick with. I'm choosing a side, Jade, and I'm choosing the actor's side. That's what I'm going with. What did you like about Eddie Redmayne, though, Fitzy?
Like I said before, I just think he's like a unique kind of character. Because he didn't seem as caught up in the movement as the other guys. He kind of seemed like he had more belief in the root of the cause, and that the other guys were more. Because I think that's what he criticizes Abby for being more just kind of riding the wave or whatever.
Yeah.
So you can tell he has conviction and stuff, and I think Eddie Redmayne plays the character really well.
Yeah, he does a good job. Absolutely. I appreciate that. From the start, we're sort of first introduced to him as being the person in the group who's much more focused on the result for them personally. He's always he seems more concerned about, let's just behave. We're already in this situation. Let's get a lesser sentence. You know what I mean? Let's not try and create too much controversy or whatever. And I think, given the circumstances they're in, that's a totally fair perspective to have that I'm sure, a ton of people would have too. And that's cool. But what I then also enjoyed was throughout the movie, him essentially by the end and the entire ending being him sort of, his mind being changed on that stance. And the whole world is watching thing kind of coming to a head there, him reading the names, throwing it all out. And, it's a situation where he has that progression, but it doesn't ever feel like, oh, he saw the light, thank God. It felt like, oh, no, he made a choice right there that he knew the best choice that was for him and his movement from the start. And that is really what he wanted to achieve, and he did that, Because at the end of the day, obviously his concern for their jail time is obviously a very fair concern to have. So, I don't know, it was kind of more, it was character progression that was sort of rooted in the character's motivations as opposed to, I don't know, something more external or something that was a bit less subtle.
Him not simping for the judge at the end and reading the names was actually I really that part really got me. I really liked that. It's a bit cliche or whatever, but the whole reading the names thing was good. I think.
How based in real life is this? Did he actually stand up and read all the names? Or?
I would assume so. That would be a huge liberty to take, because that is literally the entire climax of the movie.
Yeah,
really,
pretty much. Yeah.
I would hope so.
How long it take to read out 4,000 names? Surely someone cut him off. Oh, I'm going to search it now. Sorry.
Yeah, please do. I should have done that. Yeah, I'd be surprised if he actually read all of them.
No, they just kept cheering for the next 10 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, you're right, though. I can see it being a sort of cliche, happy, heroic, triumphant moment at the end of this sort of film. But I don't know. Yeah, no, you're right. It worked for me because of everything we'd previously seen with Eddie Redmayne. Stick it to that dickhead of a judge, that was satisfying. But yeah, no, something about the visual of, the judge going, stop him, and hammering the hammer and losing control of the courtroom. Yeah, it's sort of, I don't know, it's a bit predictable, but I enjoyed it too.
It's a pure movie moment. It did not occur in real life.
Oh, no.
No, okay,
really?
So apparently Hayden did give a speech at the end of the trial, but it had nothing to do with the names. The names were read, but they attempted to read out the names at an earlier point in the trial, though.
Oh, okay. Right.
But yeah, so that ending was all the movie.
All right, well, I'm not a fan of that now. I mean, no, it's still a good moment in the movie, but I'm that's a bit of a letdown.
I don't really mind this one.
Did any of you guys find Sacha Baron Cohen's accent off and weird? I don't know what he was doing.
Well, I don't know.
Wasn't he from New York or Jersey or something like that?
He sounded weird to me. He didn't sound like that.
Well, they said they crossed 4 state lines, didn't they? I'm pretty. They said at some point, where they moved, where they came from. Because that was kind of the core of the conspiracy, but I can't recall. But I'm pretty sure because they came through Ohio, so that means they were from the Northeast.
That works.
I assume somewhere from there.
I mean, okay, all right. I brought it up because I got this trivia, and I thought you guys would be annoyed with it too, or think it was weird. But anyway, Sacha Baron Cohen admitted he was terrified of having to do an American accent for the film. He'd used a few different variations of the accent for comedic reasons, whenever in a dramatic role. He knew. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm such a dumbass. I didn't read the full trivia. I'm just so there's trivia here about his accent. I'm going to throw it in. Here we go. This answers my question. He knew Abby Hoffman had a unique voice having a Massachusetts accent, but also having gone to school in California. Okay, all right, that sounds like you'd have a weird accent. That's fine. And he was worried he would sound wrong. Aaron Sorkin had to reassure him that the role was not an impersonation, but an interpretation, which Baron Cohen claimed did not help much. Nor would it. That's a very vague statement. Okay, never mind. I understand that. Massachusetts accent, California accent, both pretty specific. Mix them together, you're bound to have a weird voice.
Are you gonna do their voice?
Yeah, you're the impression guy that we established early on.
Come on, do the voice.
I wish I had any comprehension of the voice or any recollection of it, other than it was weird. So, no, I definitely can't. Sorry, I'm sorry.
How'd you feel about the way that the film told its story by cutting between the courtroom and a flashback and the stand-up routine?
It was. I didn't like it that much. I think it made for some cool edits. There were some moments from memory, like where 5 different characters have been cut between to like form the one sentence, and I like that kind of thing a lot.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I appreciate it. But yeah, when we get the moments where they're in the courtroom, in the present, and they cut back to the past for like 10 minutes to kind of display an event. Yeah, I don't know. It was fine, I guess. I don't know how else you do it, because I wouldn't want to put that stuff at the front of the movie either. That'd be uninteresting too. But when they get the moment of, I can't remember the context anymore, but Eddie Redmayne compromise, a police vehicle, and then we get the 10-minute flashback just leading into him popping a wheel. It's like, okay, did I really need that?
Actually, now you point that out, that probably didn't need that long of a flashback. That's a good point, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a bit off. I don't know.
Oh, freaking Michael Keaton turning up. That was great.
That was great.
He just turned up like that. I enjoyed the time he was there.
So did I. That's my voice of like, I'm agreeing with you, but I'm about to get critical. So did I, because it's Michael Keaton, and him popping up was great. And it was like the sort of Bob Odenkirk moment from last week kind of thing for me. But like, he didn't really add anything to the movie. It was just Michael Keaton. He didn't really.
That's true.
He just walked in and.
But wasn't that the point? The fact that he was meant to change stuff, but then he didn't, because the judge pretty much overruled.
That's fair. That's true. So I guess the effect of that would just make me hate the judge more, that you got Michael Keaton in here and he was useless because of the judge.
I mean, not that he made Michael Keaton redundant, but he made what he said redundant.
Because the judge knows he's talking to Michael Keaton.
Yeah, well, like I think if there's anything in that film that's meant to piss you off about the judge, it's meant to be that scene. The fact that such critical information is revealed, and it's not made. Well, sorry. One thing I don't understand is how would the jury not find out about that? Because like everyone else in the courtroom still heard that, and the press is there. Would the jury not read about that in the press, or are they like banned from reading newspapers while they're on their duty?
They'd be banned, presumably. Yeah, they'd be locked in hotel rooms and shit.
But like they'd be closed off from so much other information from the world as well. In that case, like that kind of seems. Yeah, I mean, like it makes sense as to like not inflict a bias on the case, but I mean, like it also kind of seems a bit shitty.
Oh yeah, super shitty. Yeah.
But I think that's one of the, I think that's one of the points the film's trying to make. It's criticizing the justice system, especially back then.
Yeah, but I feel like it kind of fails at that, because
that's one of my main problems with the film. It kind of feels like it jumps between what it's trying to do a lot, because it feels like it's trying to criticize the justice system, but it's also trying to act as trying to tout its civil rights stuff, and then it also tries to criticize Vietnam, and it feels like it's trying to do too much and it's jumping between it, and it never feels like it does any one successfully enough.
100%. No, I'm so with you. Where it's this thing of like, obviously the film's rooted in civil rights and that general idea, and at the time, of course, within the film's context, it's very much Vietnam. That's what it's all about. But like looking back at the movie, I don't really know what it's criticizing.
Yeah.
Other than, I guess Vietnam, sure, that's fine. But, that's definitely not a new thing to criticize. So, other than that, though, yeah, it's sort of vague. Like, is it criticizing the justice system? Because if it is, like, having the most clearly incompetent judge of all time sit in on this case when, you know what I mean? Like, there's, like, I don't know how many judges, say tens of thousands of incredibly competent judges that are terrific at their jobs in the world, and your critique of the justice system is just like, oh, this judge is awful. You know what I mean? It's not really a competent,
But
well
I think
thought
I
out
think I think
critique
it's
of the
more than
system.
that because I think one thing that the film tries to make clear is that the fate of the seven was decided before, the trial even started. There was those two ones those two at the end that weren't going to get anything, and then the other ones were condemned to prison for sure. And it was just a matter of how much prison time they got.
Oh, yeah.
So I think like it does more than just criticize it by showing an incompetent judge, although that is a major factor.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I guess so. Then I guess I just mean that it's too much of a factor for me. To your point,
But I mean,
but,
like if you're basically like, 'cause, like they throw that stat up at the end, like where like 78% of people found of practicing professionals found him incompetent. So I mean, if that's the thing that's based in real life, how much can you? I mean, like they took massive liberties with the ending, I guess. So like they could have changed that a bit, but
yeah, that's the thing. Like, like 78% of his peers in real life thought that, right? But if those people were actually judging the film depiction, I presume it'd be surely like like 99% thought that,
Going back to what you said about the it doesn't do a good job because of the bad judge and everything. There's also that line of dialogue from Abby, from Sasha's character, who he says like, our institution's a very great thing. It's just a few bad apples that are ruining them or whatever. Which kind of
he does say that.
Comes back to your point, which is that it doesn't critique the actual institution as well,
No. So yeah.
Well, he said that in that case to protect himself, because if he critiqued the institution, then Levitt's character would have smothered him with that, So I kind of see him just saying that as a form of protection, but still trying to be able to say his piece.
It felt like he believed that though.
When that's occurred after his thing with Redmayne's character, and they kind of see each other on that same level. So that's why I kind of see him, because had it been before that confrontation, I think he'd be happy to go down swinging. But then post it, I think he was looking at the other people in trial and ensuring that they wouldn't have to endure worse than what they could have. Because
that's true.
Yeah, I think he's for sure. Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, no, but you're making great points, and that's my thing. It just makes it even more unclear for me. So let's say the film isn't critiquing institutions just for the sake of this, right? Let's pick a side. Then yeah, what? Going back to that question, what is it critiquing? I don't really know. Again, other than Vietnam, of course. You know what I mean? Because other than that, all I can sort of think about is the film. Okay, critical of Vietnam and also pro fairness. It's like, okay, cool. I think that's a lot of people. I think that's not really an uncommon perspective.
Oh,
so
one of the other common veins is is it civil rights? We see Bobby Seale treated horribly, and the execution of the Black Panther that dies.
Yeah.
But then again, once again, it doesn't feel like, because as soon as they dismiss, as soon as they have a mistrial for Bobby, that element of the film's pretty much out the window. So
yeah, he vanishes from the movie.
Yeah.
I liked the moment when Bobby Seale has the line of he was shot in the shoulder. You know what that means, right? Like he had no self defense at that point. I thought that was a cool little reveal there. But also just the fact that the scene where Bobby Seale is taken out of the courtroom and his mouth is gagged, and the way that's all cut together with everyone else kind of awkwardly sitting around the courtroom waiting. That was my standout scene in the movie, I think.
Yeah.
I thought the editing was solid there. I thought that was all quite effective. Because like I'd said, I'd kind of tuned out of the whole Judge's bad side of the movie because I get it, cool, whatever. Judge is a dickhead, understood. That kind of reinvigorated that in me, though. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh Jesus, okay, that's trash. That's
Yeah.
real trash."
Like Levitt's character pointed out, like I don't understand how you have someone bound and gagged in an American courtroom, and
100%.
like I don't understand
Is
how there
that
wasn't more
another
severe.
liberty of the film?
Yeah. Actually, yeah. Like, could I mean, like, look, it was 1968 in America, so it probably did happen. But like, you know, like it's such an obvious breach, and like in a case where like it just didn't seem, you know.
Yeah, it was totally nuts. It was like the event itself. That is, it was totally unbelievable, you know, and that's why I hope to God it happened. Not obviously not for Bobby Seale's sake, but just in terms of recreating this historical event, some with some semblance of accuracy. Just because that's such a crazy moment to create for this, I think.
Yeah, no, that did happen.
Okay, cool.
He was gagged and chained
Well,
to his chair
that's
during the
terrible.
trial.
That's terrible. But I am glad it happened, because if Aaron Sorkin made that up, that would have been just like a bit much. Are there any other sort of cast members worth talking about? I like the dude from Zodiac when he popped up. You know, well, you know,
Yeah,
he's
but
not in it that much.
it's so jarring going from Zodiac to that. Don't because like you know like that's like when I first saw him as well, I was like, holy shit, it's that dude. And like so, it's hard to get that image out of your head, you know. But
no, I've seen him.
That's a thing on me rather than.
Yeah, probably. I understand that though, because he is really good in Zodiac. But no, I've seen him in a fair few other things. Like he's in The Founder too, and he's just kind of like a lovable guy in that. So like I'm good with him in this sort of role as well. And then did we like Sacha Baron Cohen's dramatic acting? Because he had that Eddie Redmayne conversation was like, okay, I'm won over by this performance here.
Yeah, it was alright, I guess. Well, how much comedy is? I think he's mainly comedy, right, in the film.
Probably.
I mean, I guess in the second half it becomes more dramatic.
Yeah, but his comedy is his vehicle of proving his point. So like, that's why it's in there.
No,
so
yeah.
Yeah, but it's still not like. I think what you're saying is that it's not like a crazy dramatic role, really. You know, it's not like he's playing the most grounded character ever.
Yeah, well, the second half definitely has some drama with this character.
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
he's acted pretty well.
Yeah,
I mean, considering he's in like, you know, Bruno and Borat plays those really out there characters. Like for that, he did a dramatic role pretty well. If you consider like the range there, you know.
But wasn't he like a tough spy man last year in like some like Mossad film? I'm pretty sure.
Oh yes, my dad watched that show. Yeah, he was. That was, I think, to my knowledge, that was a 100% dramatic role. I don't know. I think it was just the fact it's a true story. You know, his true stories just struggle to connect with me, I think, a lot of the time. Especially when, I don't know, I just feel like it constrains and restricts a filmmaker's narrative ability. And obviously, you know, I'm sure Aaron Sorkin chose to do this movie. It's not like it's being forced on him, but
yeah, I just read he's been producing it. He's been working on it since 2007.
Right, because Spielberg was attached to direct at some point, I think. So yeah, this has been long in the making.
He didn't.
You're right. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like when you're basing a movie around these true events and you're writing a script about that, you're in a situation where you're grounded in the reality of the event to some level. You know, obviously, many creative liberties are taken. We've talked about this literally in a similar sort of thing in a question of the show before. But yeah, I don't know. It's a situation where obviously, you know, believe it or not, real life's traditionally more boring than a story someone can make up in their brain.
I thought. I can't recall who it is. It's some writer, but he said that real stories are better because they are the ones that are stranger than fiction. Because if a real story warrants being told, then it are the ones that are, you know, they are the ones that are really, truly good stories. You know.
Yeah. No, I see that, and I feel like I'm in the minority on this perspective.
I think the way it's edited, because we briefly spoke about it before when I brought up the thing, but like the editing made for some really brilliant tension building. Especially, I think it was with the first confrontation where with the take the hill thing. Like in that moment, as it was cutting between the courtroom, the stand up, and the recreation. Not recreation. It was a flashback, I guess. Yeah, I think that was probably like my favorite example of it, where I think it really superbly like built up, and I think it was a really good release.
Yeah, thank you for breaking that up. Yeah, because I didn't write it down and absolutely should have. I did really like the cutting between, the recreation, the film, and those real life images. That's something I would like to see. I don't know if I've seen that before. Maybe I have, but that's something I'd
Oh,
like
actually,
to see
yeah.
more
Sorry,
generally in.
Sorry. That's something I was thinking. Because the Five Bloods did it earlier in the year when we were talking about it. But I was going to say this film does it a lot better than what that did.
Yeah, I don't even remember it doing it. Did it?
It did. Well, at the start, it showed us that montage of like to get us up to space, up to the pace.
Oh,
but
sure,
then
yeah,
also,
but that's all like cutting back and forth.
Also, throughout the film, they'd throw up an occasional photograph or like I can't remember if there was actual video, but there was definitely real photographs like that were like thrown up at moments. And I'm pretty sure we did discuss how it was jarring.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there were clips as well.
Yeah, that might be the case. That's ringing a bell. I said something about that being jarring, yeah. But in this movie, it was seamless just because, it was the perfect recreation, straight to the image, back into the movie, perfect framing and blocking, recreating the image, then, cut to the image for 3 seconds back. That was seamless stuff,
Yeah.
I really like that.
Well, as far as Netflix films about Vietnam go, this was the better one this year.
Yeah. It's its own genre now.
The scenes where the frat guys in the crowd who were trying to
that
get
annoyed me.
American flag, and then they tried to assault the girl in the middle.
Oh, that was that was egregious, dude.
The riot. I don't know if that was true or not, but if it's true, that's fucked up. But if it's not, and they just put it in there, that's just strange.
That's how I feel about a few of the occurrences in the film. It kind of felt like there were a few lines or actions that were kind of shoved in to try and, allow the audience to make that connection of what's happening then is happening today. Although the audience really didn't need that. It kind of seemed like he was treating the audience as if it were dumb. Because like there was, look, I'm sure, I'm like 90% sure this was made prior to this year's events, but the line where Riley asks Bobby Seale if he can breathe, it felt like it was so. I'm not sure if it was just because of my perspective of it, but it felt like it was so shoehorned in, and there was just other instances of that.
That'd have to be a coincidence, right?
Yeah, I mean, like surely.
Yeah, I'm with you there, but maybe not. Oh, yeah.
But it did, but sorry, it's like that instance, and then also like that assault there, it felt like it was trying, especially because like he said, you're getting what you deserved, and it was so much, get back in the kitchen, like it was such, generic shit, and it was such, it was such a typical thing, and like that was another case of it felt too bad to be a Sorkin line,
Yeah, that thank you. Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. Like that was lazy writing, dude. Like if you're throwing that in there, it's like, literally just so shoehorned in of these people, like just literally walking with them, just shouting the most generic abuse ever. Abuse that's so generic that like, like I'd say it ironically as humor. That's how generic and terrible of a line it is. You know what I mean? That's how. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
Once again, it was 60s America, so.
Yeah. Like, and it's just such a terrible thing to say to someone, especially within the context of them being the way they were intruding on the protest. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I don't know. It was a lot. But yeah, no, you're not wrong though. You're not wrong about that though. Maybe. I mean, I'm actually, now that I'm thinking about it, like for 1 millisecond longer, it probably did happen. But within the movie, you're right. It felt a bit jarring. It felt a bit much. Maybe I'm just refusing to accept that shit was very commonplace.
I'm just going through. Sorry, I don't know what I have no, but I'm going through like an accuracy thing, like something that some people wrote up was website slate.com, and it seems like Sorkin took like a shit ton of liberties.
Yeah, I mean that's a shame. That's just a bit disappointing to me. But yeah, I know I've talked about that at length at this point. Alrighty, Fitzy, give us your special score out of 5.
I'll give it a 3 out of 5. I think it's pretty good.
I've been thinking, does it need, like, instead of me just saying, okay, Jaden out of 10, Fitzy out of 5, like, should it be, I feel like it needs something else to even make it even more jazzy, you know? Like, I was thinking about saying, okay, like, Fitzy's score out of 5 stars, but traditionally the stars system, you can use half points, which you can't, so that would just be wrong.
Wait, what are you saying?
I'm so sorry. But, you know, like, I could say, okay, Fitzy, what's your score out of 5 something? You know, out of 5 Fitzy
Oh,
points?
right.
5.
I was talking some popcorn.
Yeah, right. Something like that. Have you got any feelings towards this, or am I just a psycho for having thought about this at all?
Oh, yeah, that undercover officer that Jeremy Strong falls for didn't even exist in real life.
Right, okay. Yeah, there you go. She's Aaron Sorkin. That's my thing, right? If you're gonna make a movie, okay, and you want to touch on certain themes and subject matter, and you're gonna take this much creative liberties, just write an original screenplay. Okay? If you're gonna choose an event to base your film on, do it accurately. Or don't do it at all. I needed to hammer that home because I felt like I didn't summarize it properly before. Anyway, Fitzy, the popcorn's out of 5.
Attempted rape wasn't real.
Oh shit!
Sorry.
Damn it! You're exposing him hard.
Oh no, it should be something relevant to the film, like each week.
How many of the Chicago protesters are you putting in prison?
3. You'll be putting 3 in prison, Fitzy?
3 or 5. Yeah. The other
cool.
2.
Okay.
Oh no! Wait, weren't the other 2 the ones that?
Yeah, well, 2 of them went off. So of the 5 that went to prison, how many would you personally put to prison?
Alright, I'll put in Dellinger, the Zodiac guy. He's a bit strange. And the 2, Abby and I know Jeremy. I can't put Jeremy in. Abby and
Rennie.
Rennie? Who's Rennie?
The one that got smacked in the back of the head with a bat.
Yeah, sure.
I'm pretty sure his name was Rennie, right?
Redmayne, yeah. Well, Redmayne can't go in, so Rennie it is.
Okay. Well, thank you, Fitzy, for answering. So, yeah, okay. We'll go with it based on the film, and then potentially in certain contexts we can then ask you which 3 or whatever,
Next week, it can be how many crime families are you going to kill off?
Yes. And which ones? Or it can be like which Italian foods are you going to eat at the table,
A crucial new part of our law.
Yeah, huge. We've just reinvented the show right here. Spent way too long doing it as well. What about you, Jan? What are you giving it?
I think I was going to give it an 8, but then after reading through all like the shit that's changed and after discussing it a bit more, I'm going to drop it down to the 7. I still really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good, but like I said, throughout this there were some shit that was shit. So yeah.
Cool. I'll give it I'll give it a 5, I guess. I was torn between a 5 and a 6, but splitting hairs, I'll give it a 5. And it's just sort of general feelings towards the way in which, the film was tackled and what it was about and how it sort of bored me more often than not. It was pretty one note more often than not. But we appreciated some editing. We appreciated some character moments. Joseph Gordon-Levitt brings up some points for me. So yeah, I'll give it a dead even 5. Now it's time to transition into our news chat segment, guys. We've got some trailers that I know Jaden has seen, but Fitzy, have you seen the Chaos Walking or the Tom and Jerry trailer or both?
No, but Chaos Walking, I've constantly seen updates of like when's it coming and stuff. So it's cool that it's finally coming.
Yeah, is this the movie that I saw a while ago that wasn't going to be released because of how terrible it was. Is this one?
Yeah. The test screenings were so bad that they had to go back and do extensive reshoots.
That's it.
But that's one of the, like, apparently, like, you can see Tom Holland visibly aged throughout the film because of how long it did. Because I think, like, this is, like, their first shot in, like, 2016 or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And then because of, like, there's, like, you know, Tom with Marvel and Daisy with Star Wars, you know, like, reshooting was a bitch. So, like, it took ages for them to actually, like, you know, do what they needed to. And, like, all the delays that came between that as well. So, like, I think, like,
wow.
like someone pointed out in the comments, but I didn't really see it. But apparently, like, in like there's like two very glaring shots in the trailer where you can see like Tom Holland has very much aged.
That's so funny. I love that so much. But yo, Jane, this is a book. This is a book series. I didn't know anything about this other than what I just said about it being terrible. Apparently,
Yeah, it's based on the book series of Chaos Walking by Patrick Ness. I for the longest time I thought it was just going to be based off the first book, The Knife Never Letting Go. But apparently, it might be smushing all three into one. But I'm not sure. I think that's just rumors at the point. But I really love the book. I think Patrick Ness is a really great writer. He writes really well, and especially about like realistic things. Like he has a few things about I can't recall the title at the moment. What's it called? Release is a banger. So I really enjoyed Patrick Ness, and I'm pretty sure he wrote the script or he collaborated on the script for this. So I'm really excited for this.
That's awesome. So have you read you've read the whole series?
No, I've only read the first book.
Okay. I read the IMDb synopsis for this movie, and I just vaguely remember it was like Bird Box and what's that other one? A Quiet Place. Wasn't it? Because it didn't have something to do with like the post-apocalypse and sound or something.
So what it is, it's a world without women, pretty much. And there's this thing called the noise where everyone's thoughts can be heard. Like there's like everyone, you know, like if you think it's just projected and everyone else can hear it. And then, Daisy comes along and, you know, she's the first woman that they see in like a long time. And then, you know,
so it's Maze Runner.
And they also don't hear her noise. No, it's nothing like Maze Runner.
Okay.
I'm worried that the film might make it like Maze Runner, but like the book is not like Maze Runner. And the reason that they show in the trailer for that, and the reason that they show, I can't recall the book because I think I read it like 5 years ago now, but it seems very different. And I'm not sure if that's because there's information revealed later in the book as to how she actually got there, and I just don't know about it, or if they changed it. But like, it seems very different, and I'm cautiously optimistic about what they're going to do with it.
Okay, cool. I mean, this might be something I'm into. You know, I don't mind a good old like young adult novel adaptation of a film series. You know, so
yeah, and it's also it's Doug Liman directing, who I quite like, especially because of Edge of Tomorrow.
Right.
And some other stuff. I can't.
Yeah.
What else is he's directed some other stuff I can't recall at the moment, but and because he's attached to it as well, I've kind of got some hope as well. Because, you know, so like that's a writer, a director, and like and Mads Mikkelsen's in it as well. So like there's quite a few like names in there. So like I'm quite, you know, keen on it.
Sweet. Okay. Well, Tom Holland continues to pop up in literally everything. So good for him, I guess. I'm intrigued by this movie. And then, of course, Tom and Jerry's got a trailer. This is CG, right, Jane? This is just a full.
Yeah, it's a Who Framed Roger Rabbit type of case.
Okay.
Yeah, so like Chloe Moretz is like the main character, I think, and I think Michael Pena is that his name, the Ant-Man dude, and yeah, there's some other people I can't recall, but yeah, it's going to be one of those where like, you know, there's the live action people interacting with animated, you know, cartoon characters. Now, Finny, I feel like you're the type of kid that didn't watch Tom and Jerry.
Oh, you nailed it.
You fuck. Oh, but I fucking knew. I was watching the trailer and I knew I was going to bring it up, and I was 100% expecting you to be like, oh, I never really watched it, and I was fucking, dude, Tom and Jerry is magnificent, and I think it's like the funniest shit I've ever watched. Like, From the time when I first watched it when I was 5 to now, that shit's bang.
Wow. Now, hang on. First of all, like, what made you say that? Because you're totally right, and I feel like you've got this intuition with me, but
I don't know. It's just something about you.
You just sensed it. Yeah.
I
mean, I've seen it. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen it on Cartoon Network or whatever back in the day, but it's always been a thing of, it was on Boomerang too. Yeah, that's right. Or maybe it was just that. I don't know. But like, it was the situation of it was always just on something else after something else. So like, it plays for 15 minutes and I watch and they just chase each other, and I'm like, okay. So that's kind of all I got from it. But I'm sure it's great. Like, people seem to like it. It's been going on for generations. So.
Yeah, the new series isn't fantastic, but like the original one, and then I think the second one they made, quality.
Okay.
Yeah. It kind of I mean, like, this trailer looks fine. I mean, like, it looks like what you'd expect. One really annoying thing is that they changed Tom's scream, which means nothing to you, but to us, it's Tom's scream is a pivotal part of the of the franchise, but I think there's something to do with copyright around it, or I think one of the voice actor might have died or something like that, so they had to alter it. But that's unfortunate.
Oh, okay, that's weird. Are you surprised by the live action animated amalgamation that this is? Because like that sounds bizarre to me in 2020.
I've never even heard of this movie before, and the fact that there's big names in it, I was like, what the fuck? Doesn't really surprise me, because aren't they making a Space Jam 2 soon? I mean, like, so like.
Oh, are they really? Oh no.
Pretty sure I heard rumors about that.
So wait, are Tom and Jerry in this movie, are they CG or are they like 2D? Like, is it full Who Framed Roger Rabbit in terms, you know what I mean? Like they're regular. They're not redesigned for like 3D animation.
They are. I think it's based on the character design in this is based on their redesign from the newest series, I think.
Okay.
And like, so like they have that traditional 2D. It's 2D, but I think it's kind of with the intention of making it look a bit more 3D than what the originals were.
Right. The only other news we got is that Wonder Woman is Wonder Woman 1984, which Fitzy didn't know existed, but it exists. But it comes to HBO Max.
Hold on. We've talked about this on the show before. How do you not know that it exists?
No, but when we previously talked about it, Fitzy didn't know it existed at that point.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Yeah, no, I do remember him talking about it. Sorry. Yeah. No,
yeah.
I thought it was
the one that was already out.
Already,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, I thought the sequel was already out, and this was the third one.
But it's coming to HBO Max now because they've just given up on pushing it to theaters. You know,
well, it's a theater and HBO Max release, isn't it?
That sounds right, because obviously I would assume here they'd just release it in theaters, you know, and that's still what the theater websites say. They're still sticking with their Boxing Day thing for good old Australia and the theaters. But of course, makes sense for HBO Max in the US, you know, so they're doing that. Get hyped.
When I was at the cinema this week, I saw the trailer. It looks pretty good, actually.
I like some of the 80s stuff they're doing.
Yeah. It looks kind of colourful, I guess. So.
Yeah.
And the fight between, what's her name? The cat Cougar.
Oh, Cheetah? Is that what it's called?
Cheetah and Wonder Woman. That looked pretty good.
But Cheetah's design just didn't work for me in live action. In that, of course, haven't seen the movie naturally, but like just those little shots, it just kind of looked weird, you know, like CG. What's the actress's name? She's in like those comedies. Kristen Wiig, that's it, yeah, and she's like CG Cheetah running around. That was kind of weird.
I can't recall exactly, but I think when I saw it, it reminded me of Cats. Is that correct?
Yeah, I can see that.
The face is a bit weird.
Okay.
But like, I think the body's alright.
Okay, yeah. Well, we'll have to see. You know, I'd be very surprised if I see this in theaters, but you never know with me. Let's chat about our highlights of the week. I think I'll go first this week just to spice it up.
Wait.
It's wild. What have I been watching? Great question, Zach. I've been watching. Leave it to me to be cringe. I watched The Crown, the Netflix show. You know, The Crown. It's about old Queen Lizzie II, and her fam across all kinds of time periods and decades. But I've only seen. This is bizarre, and I don't really like it. But the fact that the show's largely anthology based, like it's not that big of a deal. I've only seen the third, and now the fourth season came out about a week ago, I think, maybe 2 weeks ago. So I've been watching the third and the fourth season, and these seasons are the ones with Olivia Colman as Queen Lizzie. Because prior to that, it was Claire Foy, because they do the time jump throughout her life or whatever. So, and the show, like, I don't know. Have you guys heard a lot about it? Because I feel like I've heard a fair bit of like universal sort of praise for it, but I don't know if it deserves that. Is that what you guys have heard? Am I in an echo chamber on this one?
Yeah, no, I've heard a lot of praise for it.
Okay. Yeah, it's good. I like it. The production values are insane. You can tell like Netflix treats this as one of their premiere shows. Super well shot. You can see the budget everywhere, and their recreation of the sets and things is very impressive.
Well, we established earlier you don't like true stories, so perhaps that's why this isn't quite hitting for you.
I wouldn't be surprised. But this does have the benefit of each episode is just sort of a different thing. Like, I hesitate to say event because that sort of indicates that it's like a historically significant event. But like, no, like the one we watched last night was just Princess Diana just hanging around as like a 20-year-old doing something. So that's not really historical. That's not an event. You know what I mean? That's just like focusing on her for some reason. And then, but then you do have historical events in there. Like there's ones where they deal with, things in British history. Old Maggie Thatcher's rocked up now. So, that's a thing that's happening.
Who plays her again?
I don't know her name.
Because I remember seeing a quote from the actress saying, like, playing Thatcher was difficult, like, to not difficult, but, like, to truly get into who she was. She said she had to, like, really, like, work, to get into it.
Thanks for buying me time. I'm almost there. It's Gillian Anderson, yeah.
That's right.
I've never heard of this person. Have you heard of this person?
Yeah, she was on X-Files and Sex Education.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah. She's really good. As someone who hasn't actually heard Maggie Thatcher like speak much in real life in recordings or anything like that, she's got a very specific voice that I presume is quite accurate because otherwise it's very it's very deliberate. But yeah, I don't know. Like the show's good, is what I'm saying. Cool production values. I recommend it. Generally speaking, if you're sort of into the subject matter of these characters and the royals and shit, it's a cool insight into some of their relationship dynamics. That I presume is based in reality. Like, there's clearly there's a lot of things in this show where you watch it and it's like you don't even have to look it up. You're like, that definitely did not happen. That happens a lot, but I don't know, for the dramatization of what they're going for, and it does enhance some of the character development. I can accept it in that context. But yeah, it's cool. The stories aren't mind blowing. There's not really a huge through line. It's not like the show's shocking you with plot twists of holy shit. Prince Philip just died. Like that shit obviously can't happen. So it loses a bit of intrigue.
God, Christian fucking Prince Philip just cocks it in the middle of the season. Fuck.
I'd give it a 10 if that happened. So, I'm giving it a general recommendation if you think you'd like that sort of story. But I wouldn't say it's like, you need to watch it no matter what.
The series initially treated me back when it was like Foy and Matt Smith, like at the helm. And like, if it stuck to those 2 seasons, I think I might have watched it. But then seeing them at the 3rd and 4th, I think it was too big of a commitment for me to want to get into.
I understand that. But anyways, Fitzy, what have you been watching?
I watched Tenet, which I really enjoyed. No, like the problems people have with it definitely make sense, like the hearing and the dialogue and the lack of kind of emotional stuff happening. But just as like an action film, I really enjoyed it. Like it's very exciting, and the soundtrack is very exciting, and I really love that. And the set pieces and everything. And, yeah, it's just such an original concept. So, I mean, it's confusing as hell. It's not that I didn't just understand the mechanics of the concept or whatever, but like parts of the plot definitely eluded me as to what was happening.
Yes.
Like it's one of the most disorientating films I think I've ever watched. But I think that was kind of part of the experience, and it was a good time.
Yeah, it does feel like a movie that needs to be seen multiple times, for sure. And that's why I can't wait to do that. But Jaden, what about you?
I would talk about Before I Fall, I guess. Kind of just I'm pretty sure it's an adaptation of a novel, and it's kind of pretty standard in your teen drama type of thing. And it's this girl living in this Groundhog Day situation. It's predictable as it's pretty cringy, but it's rather enjoyable, And I think that's the story for most films of that sort. I think Deutsch did a pretty good job as the lead actress. And I think it was like in a general manner, it was well made. It was very pleasant to look at. But yeah, it wasn't anything overly special.
Sure.
That's been on my watch list because there's this Letterboxd user who has like 6,000 films or something, and it's in one of his favorites.
Yeah, I don't like him because because I know who you're talking about. He wrote a very negative review for Katie Says Goodbye, and it just seems like like I said when I first talked about it, I understand why it's a very polarizing film, but it just feels like he was so off with that.
Yeah. I mean, his rating was kind of wild, to be honest, but
But yeah, I'm just saying, like, teen drama, is it like teen romance drama? Is this what's happening in this movie?
Yeah, it doesn't have. I would have expected it to have a lot more significance on the romance angle, but it doesn't, which is kind of nice.
Right.
I'm a fucking, I'm a sucker for teen dramas, and I'll eat that shit up. I love a good high school drama, but
yes.
but for this one to not have it, it's definitely a part of it. Like it's not a thing. I guess it kind of is. I don't know. But it's not as emphasized as it would be in other ones.
All right. Yeah. No, dude, this is one of my ultimate genres. This is like my guilty pleasure genre, for lack of a better term. I'm not even guilty about it. It's not even that. Yeah. But I guess like that would be the category I fit it into, sort of. And this is why I want to watch 13 Reasons Why all the way through, just for this. I didn't think the second season was very good.
Dude, I gave up on the second season after like 4 episodes. I couldn't do it.
You couldn't do it?
Nah.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah, the second season wasn't good, but I don't know, like I still enjoyed it. Like just all the crazy shit, like I don't know, like the relationships and the back and forth, and I don't know, all the wild shit those teens get up to, and when they beat the shit out of each other. I'm here for it, And the fact that there's 2 more seasons of it that I haven't seen, I'm committed to watching those at some point. They're probably not good, but I'd have a blast, I reckon. Let us get into our... What is this now? Our question of the show.
Hand the show over to them.
Yes. Oh, Jane, you nailed it. Thank you. Oh, but now you've disoriented me a little bit. Last week we asked you what your favourite documentary film was. Luke wrote in and said, not so much a movie, sorry, Luke, but a documentary series. That's totally fine. We probably should have allowed that more specifically. Cosmos, a Space-Time Odyssey, a fantastic 13-episode journey through the ship of the imagination, exploring the universe in fascinating depth and detail, from the solar system, global warming, electromagnetism, paleontology, to stars, microorganisms, and light. Jesus God. Each topic displayed visually and articulated through the soft, soothing vocals of Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Does he like the Tyson one? I thought he preferred the one with Carl Sagan.
Are there multiple iterations of this?
I think there's 2.
DeGrasse's one was based on Sagan's original Cosmos series.
Very cool. Okay. Lockie says, I'm not even sure if this movie is necessarily a documentary film.
It's not.
But let's wait till the end till we start. But Schindler's List was an amazing movie that I loved watching. I just love how Neeson's character broke down at the end of the movie as he was overwhelmed with guilt for not being able to save more Jewish people from the camps, yet was comforted by the 1,200 or so which he had saved. I mean, yeah, not a documentary film, Lockie, but we appreciate you anyway. Thanks for writing in. I don't know, yeah. I mean, yeah, you're totally off. You're totally wrong. I was trying to sort of find a way to make it make sense. Of I can sort of see why you'd think it's a documentary film.
Because it's black and white.
Yeah, it's black and white. Liam Neeson's a real person.
He said he just thought it meant biopic. He was getting confused between biopic
Yes.
and documentary.
That's right. So that's okay. But what are our answers to favourite documentary film, Jaden?
Well, my favourite's Dogtown and the Z Boys, but I've already talked about that. So I'm going to say Tower, which is this really cool hybrid film where it's it's about the first school shooting in America. I think it's about when this dude took this Texas university. He went to the top of the clock tower and he just basically started shooting a bunch of people, which is horrid.
Jesus.
But the film is really brilliant because it's comprised of real life footage from the day and radio broadcast, and then also interviews with survivors, and then also rotoscopic animation, and it's really superb in the way they blend it all, and in the way it's executed. It's really fantastic, and it's such a tense story, and the way they tell it is really emotional. It's really fantastic. I'd recommend it to anyone. It's only 80 minutes long as well, so it's really brilliant. Yeah, Tower.
I'm adding it right now. I've never heard of it, but that sounds sick.
It's probably between Hoop Dreams and Crumb, but I've talked about Hoop Dreams, so Crumb. Crumb is directed by Terry Zwigoff, who also did First World, which is also pretty great. And it's about this cartoon artist, and some of his brothers, some of his family members who they had a really weird childhood, and they kind of turned out to be strange adults. And Robert Crumb himself he did Fritz the Cat and stuff like that, but he's also known as a really kind of controversial cartoonist artist. A lot of sexually explicit kind of stuff, and some people think he was really some people really don't agree with a lot of his work in terms of how provocative and stuff in terms of race and sex and all that. But no, it's just this really fascinating dive into his life and his family's life, and yeah.
They grew up to be quite odd in the sense that they like anime.
One brother is I don't know if he's homeless. He's kind of they're just very strange individuals. They're not integrated into society, I guess, is a way of saying.
Yes. Surprising they don't like anime. Or maybe they do.
I mean, probably.
That was really forced. My answer is probably, I don't know if it's my favourite ever. I'd have to think about it more in depth, which God knows I didn't. My Octopus Teacher is a film I watched very recently, and it stands out as a terrific movie. And it is a film about this dude who lives on the coast of South Africa, and he's passionate about. He's a diver essentially, and he's passionate about that. So he goes out swimming in the some of the most crazy wild ocean. I think they said on the coast anywhere on the planet. It was wild looking at it, dude. The friggin' waves were nuts. But yeah, so he goes out snorkeling in there and diving in that area, and he basically befriends an octopus that's hanging out there. And yeah, it's just about the relationship between this dude and an octopus that's living in the ocean. And, octopusi
Octopi.
whatever, octopi. Yeah, that sounds right. They apparently, well, they only have a lifespan of 1 year from birth to death. So it's about this 1 year he spends with this octopus, and it's sensational because like the film is entirely made up of, and he just filmed the entire like every time he saw the octopus. So the film is literally just us watching him, his footage he filmed himself, and he is by trade he is a cinematographer. So it's this awesome thing of it's just footage he filmed of hanging out with this octopus, and all this footage he captured over that year, and him then just cutting between him and then in the future now just like talking about the experience. And yeah, I don't know. Like the topic itself is interesting. It sounds like it might not need a feature-length film to communicate what I'm talking about here, but it really is cleverly edited and constructed in a way that it creates this story of this relationship, and you feel like there's character growth and progression in understanding and compassion, not just between him and the octopus, but of course between us understanding octopuses because octopi because you kind of learn so much about that species as well. So I learned so much about them just through that, and then it was a really
no, they're plural.
yeah, exactly. I definitely didn't, not until right now. That was a lot. I know everything else about them though, but no, that was a really really cool movie. It's like 80 minutes, I think. It's on Netflix. I recommend people check it out. It's got some really nice emotional weight to it at times too. As well as being educational and all that shit. So yeah, I think it kind of perfectly encapsulates what a documentary film should try and achieve. So yeah, that's an endorsement from me. But that's it for Cinema Effect this week. Thanks everyone for tuning in, as always. Fitzy, what are we watching next week?
Sorry, was that repetitive? Was
I said it 3 times in an effort to sound a bit different.
We don't know.
I was so confused.
I'm really glad that you commented because I was hoping someone would question it as if like was that an audio glitch? No, it wasn't.
Wait, what are you guys talking about?
I said as always 3 times in a row.
Oh, okay.
Fitzy definitely noticed. But what are we watching next week?
The Godfather Part 3, which is on Stan.
Are you guys scared for this?
It's supposed to be not great. I don't know, it'll be fun if it's bad.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm scared it'll be like not bad enough to be fun, but not good enough to enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm kind of. I think that might be the case, and I agree with you 100%. I want it to be either decent or really bad that it's funny. Exactly. But if it's just boring, then that's not going to be fun. Anyways, we all appreciate you tuning in, and by you I mean audience member, which I think I already said that. Didn't I? Yeah. But we do. It's worth saying twice, I guess.
Yeah. All 47 of you.
Yeah, I've been very impressed by the views in recent weeks.
I was talking about the 47 subs though.
Yes, 100%. They're the only ones we should really care about because all these other chumps click on it thinking, oh, there's not that many. What the hell did we do last week? No. Oh, shit.
Woman.
Yeah, but that's not what I was thinking.
Nocturne.
Yes, that's it. That's exactly what I meant. There's someone scrolling on YouTube. Oh, there's not that many Nocturne videos out there on YouTube. I just watched Nocturne. I want to see someone else's opinion on it, and they click on it and they realize it's an hour and a half podcast where they're staring at an image and they immediately click off. So screw those people.
Just go to sleep with us, and a bit of ASMR help you fall asleep.
Absolutely. You shouldn't be searching for a video. You should try and readjust, recalibrate what you're looking for in a film thing, in a film piece of entertainment. And yeah, 100% make it your bedtime ritual.
Yeah, I say that, but I hate ASMR so much.
I don't understand it either. I respect that it works for some people's brains.
Dude, if I wanted to hear, some bloke spitting in my ear, like, I'd just go out on the street and just ask someone to do that.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, Vinci. Did you say were you a supporter or a denier of
Yeah, I love
ASMR?
ASMR. I've been listening to ASMR
Do
for
you?
like 5 years.
Wow. And does it what like really have what effects does it have on you?
Well, for some people, they're supposed to get a certain tingling sensation, but I don't personally get that. I just find it like relaxing. It's basically just music at this point. Like I just put it on, like music. I don't do it to fall asleep or anything. It's just
Right.
there in the background.
Okay. Cool. And what do you have like a certain like I don't know anything about this world. Is there like content creators of ASMR that you like prefer over others? Okay.
Well, yeah. I follow like a ton of people now and listen to different people, but it comes in phases. You want to listen to one person for a couple of months, and
Sure.
your brain wants to listen to someone else.
Then your brain suddenly wants people sucking on Skittles, and that's like the noise of the week.
No, I hate food. ASMR. It's disgusting.
But like, how is someone whispering like supposedly like satisfying words in your ear any better?
I don't know, but like a lot of people who like ASMR that I've seen in like comment section and stuff also say that they hate food ASMR because it's just like chewing and food, and that's just like it's a different story.
I mean, I could keep this going. I could keep asking questions, but yeah, we'll leave it here. I think we'll leave it here. Anyways, have a great rest of your week, everyone, and goodbye. I hope they're questioning if it was the computer or not, but that was just me that time.
YouTube did that glitch a while ago where it did repeat the final words. So
yeah. So now they'll know it wasn't YouTube, unless, of course,
you can't just cut this all.
Yeah, I probably should do that.